The mission was supposed to be routine. Kaylin and her strike team had been sent to secure an outpost near the unstable rift borders of uncharted space. But the Dominion's intelligence was wrong. Something else was waiting. The Jarn ambush tore through the Valari line. Their machines carried resonance disruptors, specialized to overload armor. Kaylin fought ferociously, her twin plasma blades scything down the mechanical beasts, until a blast hit her center mass. Her armor seized. The symbiotic exoshell, living alloy fused with neural filaments, locked every muscle in place. She dropped to the ground, paralyzed but conscious, a prisoner in her own body. Her squad was gone, either dead or scattered. The battlefield was quiet, except for the crackle of burning wreckage. That was when she saw him. The human. He moved through the wreck cautiously, rifle slung over his shoulder. His gait was uneven, but his eyes, gods of the stars, his eyes were alert, sharp. He wasn't scavenging like a carrion beast. He was searching. He found her. Alive, he muttered, kneeling by her armor. His hands probed the outer plating, gentle but precise. He didn't flinch at her height, the fanged helm, or the faint hum of the still active blades. You're locked in. Kaylin wanted to snarl, to demand he leave her. Better to die than to be toyed with by a soft skin. But her jaw wouldn't move, her voice locked inside her armored throat. The human seemed to realize she could hear him. Don't worry. I've seen this before. Not your kind exactly, but exobind seizures. His voice was steady, calm. He touched a seam along her breastplate, fingers tracing the living metal. If I can get this off, you'll breathe again. No one but a bonded warrior of the Dominion could open a Valari exoshell. The thought of an alien even attempting it was absurd. But then his hands moved, deft, careful, finding hidden ridges as if the armor spoke to him. And then she felt it. The first release. The shell's inner spines loosened. Air rushed back into her lungs. Kaylin gasped, her first sound a ragged growl that startled him back a step. But she could move her jaw now. How did you do that? The human just smiled faintly. I paid attention. To the middle, a strange alliance. His name was Ethan Cole, a stranded scout for the Terran Union. His ship had been shot down weeks ago, and he had been surviving on scraps, moving through the wreck fields of Valari and Jarn skirmishes. Kaylin didn't want his help. She was Valari, bred for honor, trained to fight alone if necessary. But her armor remained partially locked, her legs still bound, her mobility crippled. Ethan had freed her breathing, her voice, her arms, but without him she could not move far. You can leave me, she told him as he dragged her under cover of a shattered transport wing. The Dominion will retrieve me. Ethan snorted. Haven't seen anyone come back to clean up this mess. You'll be picked apart by scavenger drones before your people even know you're missing. She glared at him. His lack of deference was infuriating. He should cower before a Valari first spear. Instead he treated her like an equal. Over the next hours, he worked to disengage more of her armor's lockpoints. The shell resisted, organic metal tendrils clinging stubbornly. Yet somehow his hands found patterns. He hummed sometimes while he worked, simple human notes, oddly soothing. When he freed her left leg, she nearly wept from the flood of sensation. You're not supposed to be able to do this, she muttered. Maybe your people underestimated us, Ethan replied, not looking up. That night, they camped by a hollowed wreck. Kaylin watched him prepare a fire, his fragile body outlined by the flames. She expected weakness. Yet he carried himself with quiet resilience, as though survival itself had been hammered into his bones. Against her will, Kaelin asked, "Why help me? I am Dominion. Your union is not our ally." Ethan stared into the fire. "Because you were alone, and trapped, and I couldn't just walk away." The simplicity of it unsettled her more than any grand oath would have. Rising tension, the shock. 3 days passed. Slowly, Ethan freed more of her armor, though the deeper bindings resisted him. Kaelin began to walk again, though unsteadily. But as he worked at the final spine, deep within the chest plate, Kaelin felt something she hadn't expected. The armor wasn't just metal. It was bonded to her, alive in its own way. When Ethan touched it, his hands warm against the plates, the armor responded. It pulsed like a living creature recognizing him. Her people taught that the exoshell only answered to the blood of Valari warriors. Yet here it was, loosening at a human's command. When the chest plate cracked open, she staggered free, air rushing across her skin for the first time since the battle. Her body trembled. The armor lay still on the ground, inert like a husk. Ethan caught her as she swayed. "Easy. You're not used to your own weight without it." Kaelin looked up at him, shock coursing through her veins. No human should be able to command Valari armor. No one. Ethan shrugged, though his eyes were shadowed. "Guess I'm full of surprises." For the revelation more than flesh. They didn't have long to dwell. A Jarn patrol swept into the wreck field, hunting survivors. Kaelin, weakened but free, grabbed her blades. Ethan took his rifle. They fought together. Kaelin moved with lethal grace, her plasma arcs slicing through machines. Ethan's rifle cracked with precision, targeting weak points she didn't even know existed. At one point, he dove to pull her clear of a collapsing mech, something no Valari soldier would have risked. When the last Jarn fell, Kaelin stood panting, staring at the human who had fought beside her. "You are reckless," she accused. "Maybe," he admitted. "But it kept you alive." That night, Kaelin studied him while he slept. No claws, no armor, no exoshell. Yet somehow, he had survived here longer than most Valari warriors would have. Somehow he had touched her armor, opened it, freed her in a way no one else could. For the first time, she wondered if the Dominion had underestimated more than just his species' strength. Perhaps they had underestimated their will. The ending the choice. By the 7th day, Kaelin was strong enough to move on her own. The armor strangely remained dormant. It refused to rebond. Almost as if it had chosen Ethan over her. She should have felt shame. Instead she felt something else, respect. When a Dominion recovery ship finally arrived, Kaelin faced a decision. She could return to her people, report the truth. That a human had done the impossible, had freed her, fought beside her, even commanded her armor. Or she could keep it secret. As she stood at the ramp, Ethan beside her, she made her choice. "You will come with me," she told him. He blinked. "What?" "Your people will resist. First. But they must learn. Humans are not weak. You are something else. Something the galaxy must see." For a moment he hesitated. Then he smiled that quiet, steady smile. "All right then. Let's see where this goes." Kaelin felt the weight of destiny settle on her shoulders. She had begun this broken, bound in armor, certain of her superiority. But the human had shown her something no warrior ever had, that sometimes strength was not in claws or armor, but in the courage to act when others would not.